to the Bubble Buddies post-game recap. And what a game, with the Toronto Six taking their first franchise victory, 2-1 against Boston, a classic game. Just before we get into the game, I wanted to take a quick second to kind of address everything that's been kind of unfolding on Twitter over the last 24 hours. Personally, I think it was incredibly disingenuous for Erika Nardini of Barstool to make that video claiming that she and Barstool had done more for women's hockey than those that she featured in the video. Many of them have been working in women's hockey long before Barstool was even paying attention. And I think people are rightfully upset that this has opened up some of the biggest supporters of women's hockey to a lot of abuse and hate from a very aggressive section of their fans. Regardless of if you support Barstool or not, I think it was a bad move. And my heart really goes out to anyone who's become a target for harassment over the last 24 hours. And as hockey fans, I think we can be better. Regardless if you support Barstool or not, I think we can all admit that that was a pretty shit move. At the end of the day, I really feel bad for those people, and shout out to close personal friend of the show, Alyssa Turner, who has really done a great job with supplementing the numbers of the NWHL and helping grow. So I want to give her a shout out because I know she's gotten some harassment, but she's doing a great job, and keep up the good work, Alyssa, if you end up listening to this. With that out of the way, let's get into the game. What an entertaining game. I can't believe that I had the Leafs game on one side, and like this was what I was paying attention to. This was an amazing game.
Yeah. For me, I only had the Six game on tonight. I think my team wasn't playing. I know your guys' team was playing simultaneously with the Six, but nothing on the Edmonton front tonight, so I wasn't distracted.
Yeah,
great game for the Six though.
Well, I just had the Leafs game going on my phone just now, but the Zoom call was buffering, so I turned it off, interfering with the connection. But yeah, I mean, I think that was an excellent game. It lived up to the hype and all that. I think, like I said last game, I think the refs had the whistles up their ass to start the game, and then they took them out because at the start of the game there was no whistles. The play just kept going nonstop, just constant action. Then towards the end of the game, constant penalties again. So two completely different types of game. First half, all 5-on-5. The pace never stopped. And then after that, it was special teams that took over. And that's, I guess, the part of the game that we won.
Yeah, I wanted to just like say the amount of penalties that Toronto has been taking. Normally I'm kind of used to the Toronto teams getting bullied. But Toronto has definitely made a statement that they're a tough team, and they're not afraid to throw around the body because they have confidence in their penalty kill, and I have confidence in the penalty kill. They've got to be leading the league in 5-on-3s against, and they always seem to kill them off. I think there was one time where there was a goal against on one, but why not throw around the body a little bit if you've got trust in your penalty kill?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Mm-hmm. For sure. And I think on the subject of special teams in the third period, I think especially after Toronto got their 2 goals, Boston really didn't have much of a chance to get sustained momentum because they just kept going back to the box again and again and again. So there's really not a lot of 5-on-5 time after Toronto took the lead. I know obviously Boston did get a penalty, did get a power play at the end. But I think that really kind of interrupted any sort of flow that they could have gotten.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it was kind of
I'd say I agree with that.
It was the exact opposite of what we saw in the Minnesota game, where it was Toronto losing focus and kind of getting undisciplined. The moment they tied up the game, they took over, and it was Boston's turn to kind of lose a little bit of their discipline, lose their focus, and take some dumb penalties. I think they might have been a little bit rattled from that opening loss that they had there. And like, as an athlete, I kind of know that sinking feeling you get when you're like, oh God, this is happening again. And all props to Toronto. They took advantage of that. They recognized a weakness with Boston, and they just rolled with the momentum and they kept it up. Really great game. And I think on the broadcast, they mentioned they get better every period. Every period we're seeing almost a different team. They just keep taking steps forward. And, that's the third of 3 really tough teams they have to play. They got 2 games to just keep building off of this momentum.
Yeah, well, I guess it shows that, they can win two completely different types of games. Not that they won the last one, but a game that they were in it the whole time and probably should have won. The high scoring 6-5 game. And then today they showed that they can beat another very good team with a 2-1 game. So, they can beat you in more than one different way. They can beat you in a high scoring game. They can beat you in a low scoring game. They can beat you with special teams. And I guess 5-on-5, the six maybe need to work on that a little bit. But the way the last two games have gone, there hasn't been too much 5-on-5 time anyway.
Yeah.
For sure. And me and Claire were talking about this off camera, but it's going to really throw a spanner in the works with regard to the standings as we move toward the round robin at the end of this regular season 5-game stretch, because that game between the upcoming game between Metro and Boston is now takes on a whole lot of significance. So, I mean, that's going to be really interesting to keep an eye on as well. But yeah, huge game for the Six today.
Yeah. So in
How about the goaltending? I mean,
yeah, I was going to mention the goaltending as well, Cameron. Last podcast we talked a little bit about who we thought was going to take over the crease. I thought Chuli played well. I thought it was a goaltender's battle. Both goalies just pulling out some incredible stops right out their ass. Like, an amazing show of goaltending with Chuli. I think on that first goal, I think that's one that she might like to actually have back, because she was in position and she was ready for it. Kind of hit her and
see that
there. But apart from that, an all-around great game from the Toronto goaltender.
Yeah. Well, and also, I guess there was a couple times that I saw Chuli lose her stick. Kind of reminded me of Askarov from Russia. And I saw one of the Toronto players actually tried to shoot it back to her at one point, which I'm pretty sure that's not allowed. So I think the Six might have caught a break there. But other than that, it was a great performance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I noticed that as well. I know she didn't get the stick back to Chuli, so I don't know if that was maybe a factor. I know in various leagues there's various rules about getting a stick back to a goaltender. So I don't want to pretend to know what the particular rule in the NWHL is, but I did also make note of that, Cameron.
And with Chuli, something that I really wanted to shout out for her, just the confidence that she's kind of built off of that first game. Positionally, I thought she played really well. She was really doing a good job tracking the puck, which I think really helped her when she was losing her stick. Her body was always there. Even when she was losing track of where the puck was, she was squared up to where the shot was going to come from. And I think that really paid off in the long run. It's the kind of style that we see from Carey Price, which makes him just look so robotic and mechanic. He's just always ready for the puck. And her puck tracking really impressed me tonight. And in those moments where she lost her stick, I had total confidence because the body was there and she knew where the puck was coming, even when she couldn't see it. And I think that's really what separates great goalies from, your average or your good goalies. And I can't wait to see as the kind of tournament progresses. I think, she's still the clear-cut starter after a game like that, really holding the team in there and was a big part of some of the momentum shifts with some of those big saves.
Yeah, and I would suggest that she would be even more cemented in her role as the starter after tonight's game. But also just a quick word for Lovisa Salander. She was phenomenal as well. For a lot of the game, it felt like nothing was going to go by her. There were a number of plays where I was like, how on earth did that stay out of the net? And that was due to her goaltending, which I mean is not a surprise. She was the goaltender of the year as a rookie last year. So, eventually Toronto broke through on her, but you certainly do have to tip your hat to her for this game.
Yeah, and
there was a pretty good save on the penalty shot too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And there was a power play about
Wilson Bennett's shown us she can snip the biscuit.
Yeah, there was a power play halfway through the second period too, where there was two huge scoring chances for Toronto where she cut down those angles and they were hitting posts. And I'm just like, God, how did that stay out? And it's all credit to the goaltender. She really put Boston in a position to win, but they didn't. Toronto pulled out the W, as we were happy to see. So our close personal friend of the podcast, Alyssa Turner, I also saw tweeting out about Abby Curlew, a super underrated player. She had an assist, I believe, on the second goal. She just knows where the puck's going to be. And I just wanted to give her a shout out because, I think she has been underrated. We haven't really spoken about her. I haven't heard her name on our podcast at the very least. But she just seems to know where the puck's going to go. Just
Claire, the reason you may not have heard of Abby Curlew is that her name is Amy. But
yeah, here we go again with the mistakes on my part because Nick's the one who does all the research.
No, but I think it's a good point because I also actually was thinking about her tonight. She did have a nice game.
Yeah, one day I'll get through one of these without making a stupid mistake on my part. But I do want to give Curlew a shout out. She played well. Abby, Amy, I'm sorry, but she played well. Just take the compliment.
Listen, regardless of how she pronounces it, maybe she pronounces it Abby. I don't know.
I don't judge if you want to pronounce Amy Abby.
I saw the commentator mispronounce Jofa.
Yeah, that was if the commentator.
Oh yeah, Jofa. Yeah.
I can make a mistake here and there. Yeah, any players in particular? Grant Mentis, of course, another great game from her with that goal. Yeah, any other players that you guys want to give a shout out?
I'd just say Chuli. I mean, we already covered it for the most part, but I think she was probably the player of the game for Toronto.
Yeah, I would probably just echo that. I mean, I would say Chuli was my player of the game for Toronto.
Yeah, I think we're 3 for 3 on that one. Chuli definitely player of the game. I think Digit Murphy's got she's got to be happy with that win. Moving forward now, because we are into the back stretch of this regular season before we hit those bonus games. What are you guys looking forward to in these next 2 games from Toronto against Connecticut and Buffalo? Or Buffalo and Connecticut, I should say, because Buffalo, I believe, is up next.
Cameron, you go first.
Okay, well, I mean, you don't want to underestimate any opponent, but from what we've seen so far and from what we predicted, this is the easier part of the schedule. So what I'm looking forward to, I guess, is if we've seen them perform as well as they have against these teams, then I look forward to seeing how they'll do against Buffalo and Connecticut. If these are, in fact, easier games, and we can really see, in fact, how good this Toronto team is, hopefully they can pull out 2 wins.
For sure. And I think a big thing is they have a day off before each of those games. And yeah, I'm just looking forward to seeing that, what Cameron said, but also just seeing them continue to gel as a team. I think it's obviously going to be big for any team in this tournament to have a day off between games, but especially a team that's still gelling and is still playing their first games as professionals together, like Toronto. I think is going to be a huge boon for them. So just looking forward to seeing them continue to gel.
Yeah, I think like Nick said in the last post-game video, I believe, or maybe it was the last episode, Boston was looking to make a statement tonight. It's Toronto's turn to make a statement and show that they can really dominate a game for a full 60 minutes. They've proven they can hang with the best of teams. It's time for them to prove that they might actually be one of the best of the teams. Really start to pad their standings and put themselves in a good position for those semifinals if they are lucky enough to make it. And, put themselves in a position to win. Like, you've proven that you can beat Boston. Boston's a great team. They should have won last year if the Isabel Cup hadn't been canceled. Make a statement. Prove that you can go for this and that you can hang. Perfect. Do you guys have any closing remarks or closing statements apart to roast me for another egregious mistake?
No.
Oh, well, I'm just glad my internet connection's gotten better so I can actually hear what you're saying now.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, I think that's it for us for this post game. Stay tuned for more content coming through on the NWHL Bubble Buddies website. And we're going to have a couple more podcast episodes coming up for you shortly as well. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and keep supporting women in sport. Let's go. Toronto 6. Nick's looking dapper. He's got his little tie. So
many are asking whether I have enough quarter zip sweaters to run the table on this program.
Nick,
I don't think I do.
You better wear that quarter zip for every game now. It's lucky.
Okay. Yeah.
If any of us have to interview a player, we know who it is.
Yeah, all of us will go on mute. Anyway, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Really appreciate it. And let's go Toronto 6.